Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee. Several of you have probably heard the testimony that you're going to hear tonight before. Some of you may not have heard it. But this is the Parentage Act. What I've attempted to do with the help of all of my friends here and a lot of legal minds getting involved is to update the parentage laws that have not been changed since the mid-1970s. As we all know, the nature of the Rhode Island family has changed substantially since then with the passage of gay marriage and the recognition of the family unit being that same-sex couples are having babies through assisted reproduction, surrogacy, and there's presumed parents, there's de facto parents, but the actual, what we're really trying to do here is make it easy and equal for everyone to be parents. Anybody who wants to be a parent, who's willing to make the commitment, do what it takes to have the baby, commit to bringing up the child for the rest of their lives, as we all know, then that's what we're looking for. And these people, everyone here today who you see with children that are same-sex couples have had to jump through hoops with adoptions, the stories that you're going to hear about how they have their children in the hospital and only one of them gets placed on the birth certificate, the other one has to go through an exhausting and humiliating adoption procedure. Now, what we've done in this bill is we have what's called voluntary acknowledgment of parentage, which will stop all of this. And people, when they go into the hospital to have a baby, both of them will sign a voluntary acknowledgment of parentage, and then they will be placed on the birth certificate. So that is a great thing. That is bringing us into the future. The future is now, and we've been in the past for a long time. So the other thing that very important that it does is it makes the rules for surrogacy arrangements. We currently have no rules, and it's done on a case-by-case basis. We don't have any standards, and what we've done here is put in place standards for everyone to follow so they know what they have to do if they enter into a surrogacy agreement with a woman who's going to have the baby for them. Generally, there's no genetic tie. I mean, it's very comprehensive, as you all know. There's so many different possibilities for how you can have a baby these days. And I think we've done a pretty good job of covering all those possibilities and paving the way for people to have an easier avenue to parentage. Now, I just want to tell you how this all started, and I know that Dr. Watson is in the corner. Where's Anna? We lost her. Anyway, my constituents approached me in 2017, and that's Dr. Sarah Watson and Anna Ford, and they had just birthed their beautiful son, Eli, who's on the floor over there, and they had to leave the hospital in a very concerning manner where only Anna was on the birth certificate and Dr. Watson was not. And so they contacted me, and we went through the circumstances of the birth of Eli and how this affected them and how it would take 6 months before they could actually adopt, Sarah could actually adopt her own son. So it leaves them in a very precarious position. So if one of them is sick or there's a complication in childbirth, the other one can't just take the legal parentage that they should have. They have to leave it to a court, and it's very up in the air on what happens with the baby until the court takes hold of the case and follows through with the adoption. Now, this has been 3 years now, of course, with this bill, and there have been lots of work, and I think most of you know that. Polly Crozier from GLAAD has been exhausting in her pursuit of this. Also, I've worked with Chief Judge Forte in the family court and Sharon O'Keefe. They have been on this bill, tirelessly working on it since the summer, I would say, that they've really gone through it. and every single clause in it. So I believe that this is the year, and I'm very excited about that. I've also worked with Sharon Santilli from the Bureau of Family Support. She's helped with the provisions that affect her department. We've worked with the Department of Health on how to go about making the forms for the voluntary acknowledgment of parentage so that we can have an easy transition to birth certificates. So we've pretty much tapped into, I think, everybody that needs to have a say in this. I know that we have the director of the Department of Human Services here, and I think that their department is in favor of this strongly. I mean, it is time, and it's good for children. And I think in the end, the law states in Rhode Island what's in the best interest of the child. Any of you who do family court work know that that is what we always have to keep our eye on when it comes to custody or visitation or any of the issues that come up in child custody, or who gets to visit, who doesn't get to visit, supervision of visitation. It's always the best interest of the child. And this is what this bill does. It gives the child two parents right from the start, which they should have had, and without going through the extra hoops. So I believe that we probably have Polly here could explain all the ins and outs of the bill for you. We really, it's a long bill. You'll see it's 45 pages long. First few pages are all crossed out because we're repealing the old laws. But we have some beautiful kids here, and they're wonderful families, and I think you're all going to agree after you hear from them that this is the right thing to do, and now is the time. We can't go back. After today, or after this session, we can't go back to the way it is. And we're very committed on making that happen, and I know Chairman Craven has helped me extensively with this bill, and he's one of the sponsors, as is Speaker Mattiello, as is Lita Sacacci, and as is Representative Justine Caldwell. So I think we're all very committed in seeing this pass the finish line this year, and I know it was distressing last year, but we're going to get there. So hang in there, everybody, and